Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. You made the trip. You got a special guest here, Blake, and I'll introduce him in a minute, but I wanted to do a real quick announcement. Dr. Leveque is, if you've watched one of our shows here, not show before last, I think it was, we talked about Dr. Leveque and his passing, a real hero to us all. So they're having a memorial for him this coming Saturday, May 30th. It says, all are welcome to join in one final salute to our doctor, mentor, colleague, and friend, Dr. Phil Leveque. It's time to give our respects to this honorable, irreplaceable giant of a man, Philip Edward Leveque, who passed away May 2nd, 2015. So Saturday, May 30th at 2 p.m. The event is the event is in a great park. It's at Cascades Gateway, just off the freeway in Salem, and they'll be in the Beaver Grove area, which is a reserved area. And it says, so come prepared to have fun, and it's supposed to be sunny. It's a potluck picnic, so please bring something for the table, paper plates provided. And bring your photos and mementos of time with Doc, if you've got them. So hopefully I'll be bringing my photo of 2006 hemp stock with a picture of Dr. Leveque and I with him wearing his sign, the most dangerous man in Oregon, but he was quite a hero. So anyway, let's talk to Blake. So Blake, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. And Blake called me, wanted a vending spot at the Hemp Fest, and so we talked about his product, and I said, well, that's great, and you need to come on the TV show. And so here he is. So I appreciate you coming in, Blake, and tell us about your product. You represent, not your product, but the represent you.
I represent MZ12X. It's an organic solvent designed specifically for tearing marijuana apart, making wax, getting the flavor, the THC, all the CBDs and the good medical things out of it. And it's designed specifically for that purpose. It also pulls the flavor of the plant out. I tried it. The flavor was indescribable. It was like breathing a flower. The chemical taste that you get from smoking BHO that they make right now is totally gone. This has a complete evaporation point. If you use it to make your own medicine at home, you can spray it into the pan through the whatever you use, and in 2 hours, it's a usable product. It doesn't have to be purged. It has no heavy metals, contains no CFCs. It's methane, water, and carbon dioxide. People that I've talked to like it.
So how does a person learn how to do that process? Because we hear stories about people blowing up apartments and stuff, and so what's the problem, and what's the cure?
The problem with butane is it evaporates at 31 degrees. Mm-hmm. So if you put it into a pan on the table, it will fill the pan up with the cold air that will drop on the table and fall to the floor and collect. Then if there's a spark of any kind, it'll blow the house up. This stuff evaporates at -1 degree. It will come out of the pan and it might hit the table. It probably won't. It will evaporate before it goes to the floor. So there's no mass buildup of an explosive product.
Excellent, excellent. And where does a person learn how to make the product, the actual process? I mean, I know you don't do that, but how do people?
I saw the process. I went to Google and typed in MZ12X and watched a couple of the movies. Mm-hmm. There's several very informative movies on how to use this product and create the product that you should have at home. It's organic, no heavy metals, complete evaporation point. The taste is wonderful, and the price is comparable to butane.
Wow, and that's it. Yeah, and what we're talking about now is concentrating marijuana into
a wax or an oil.
Yeah, and so that's you can do it at home. So and now this is you got a safer product to work with. So that's really a great opportunity. Exactly, hearing a lot about this. So. And you've been using this for how long now?
I've been using it for 2 months.
Okay.
But another good, it does no harm to the environment, the atmosphere, your dogs or cats, you. The freezer burn is the frostbite because it's so cold. Right. Is the biggest danger that I've come across in using it.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, no taste. That's where I've been using just recently. I got a vapor pen and preloaded. You get the preloaded little capsules with the oil and all that, you know. And I was amazed that no aftertaste, smooth. You didn't even know that you actually were inhaling anything. You have to get used to it because you can actually inhale. You get too much, and so. And again, I'm sure that that's the improved processes. You don't have the taste that I was expecting.
Well, the butane and propane can't pull the taste out of a plant, and if it does, it's still masked by the taste of the gas. Butane and propane are all natural gas. They're gasoline byproduct. Now, this is an organic chemical that it was created specifically for doing the job of making better wax and stuff for people. The I made some, took it down and had it tested at the lab. The stuff made with Z came out 10 points higher in THC than the stuff made with butane. When I shot a can of this through the weed, I got 7.5 grams of product when it was dried out. When I used butane, I got 5 grams of product that tasted like oil, and my product tastes like the flower it's made from. Recommend that you choose a good flower because it's going to taste like that. Skunk weed probably wouldn't be preferable.
Wow, yeah, interesting. So it's a bonus. So what now? So how much are those going to retail for?
These will retail from $7.99 to $8.99.
Okay.
The problem with the only problem I have heard about it since I was introduced to it is that the price was exorbitant. When I first found it, I bought it for $11 a can and had to have it shipped in. That's ridiculous. I went and talked to several people. I finally found the people that make it and got to talking to them. I can get it and I can put it on the shelves for the same price as butane. This is a 500 mil can. Butane comes in a 400 mil can. It sells for $8 for the better quality of butane. This is 100 mil more and a cleaner product and creates more product when it's used.
Excellent. It's all about America and business and getting a better product, and just, so.
And the guy that charged me $11 a can was robbing me.
Right.
I don't want to rob America. I want America to have good, clean medical marijuana.
Sure, definitely. Yeah, and the concentrates are incredible because this is the name implies they're concentrated, and you definitely get more bang for the buck, and especially with some patients that need that kind of dosage, it's invaluable, yeah, that's great. Now we're talking about, and also now we're talking about products that patients will be inhaling. Yeah. Right. And now, is this used in topical type of stuff or not?
Yes, my girlfriend, she uses it because she makes ointments and lotions for my mom and myself, our arthritis, and she uses this wax in it.
Okay.
My son has developed a method of making it edible with no high to it. So in case of a little kid that accidentally eats a cookie or takes a candy, he's only getting the medicine, or if the child needs the medication, but they can't take the Simpson oil because they get too high, they can take a wax made of this and get the same CBDs and everything without stumbling around and being unable to go to school or function.
Wow, that's excellent. And by the way, speaking of your son, you say that he's coming to Oregon, so I hope he'll be come on the show when he gets there.
I'm trying to get him up here.
That's great.
He's a very clever man, and he's been playing with this product since he found it over a year ago.
And been a grower for how long?
He's been growing down for about 8-9 years now.
Yeah, so that's great. Yeah. That's great, and there's a lot of information out there, and it's the kind of people you need to talk to, and so we're looking forward to him coming up and talking about his experiences. And also, Blake, as I was mentioning, I like to talk about what cannabis means to you, and how you ended up being a pro-cannabis advocate, say.
I always thought marijuana should be legalized anyway, but at one point in time, little girl got into a cookie and got high. And it ruined a whole bunch of stuff for a whole bunch of people. This stuff will produce a cookie or a candy that anybody can eat and they won't get high. My mom has cancer. She can't take but just a small amount of Simpson oil because she can't function normally if she does. She can eat a gram of wax made with this stuff and go in the house and spend the day being a mom, not sitting in a chair trying to worry about getting up and falling down.
Right.
It's
Of course,
a great product and should be used by everybody.
right. Of course, now what we're talking about is the medicine before it's processed is what he's talking about. So in other words, if somebody has a medicine that's low on THC and high on CBD, and they use that and use this product, then it'll make more concentrated in the CBD, but not the THC. So it just depends on what you start with, what you end up with, of course.
Yes, that's correct.
So the reason I want to clarify that, I just want to make sure people didn't misunderstand by saying that, by thinking that they could take a high THC product and run it through here, and now we got no THC but high CBDs. But no. It depends what you start with.
It increases the THC.
But it does, yes, yeah, that's a good point, and it does increase the percentages of what you're after. So
Yes, it does.
it's a win-win. So that's really exciting. I expect this to be really big at the Hempfest, and that's what I like about Hempfest, because to me, I think about a Hempfest like a trade show, you know. And if your person is really into a certain item, and a trade show comes in town, well, it makes sense that the person would go to the trade show, because you see new products and meet people that are working on stuff. I mean, it's just invaluable networking, you know. And yet, the majority of my friends that are cannabis users but not activists had never been to a Hempfest, including mine. And I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. But this is a perfect example of what I like to tell people, that you can see at a Hempfest. You'll see stuff you never find anywhere else. You know, you don't go to Walmart and find this.
No.
So that's you know, the reason. There's a lot of products, and of course, that I thought were really great, and then they disappeared. There was one time. It was a mouthpiece for smoking out of your glass, and it was a rubber cap that went over the mouthpiece, and you put a screen on the inside of that, and that way the screen never got hot. I mean, yet it kept stuff out of your mouth. It was brilliant, you know. But anyway, I don't know what happened to them, so they kind of went by the wayside. But yeah, that's a Hempfest coming up, and that's the 17th through the 19th, 17th, 18th, and 19th of July. Now, that's the weekend after the country fair, and now that they moved the county fair, we're now, it's a week, our event is a week before the county fair. So you got the country fair, Hempfest, and then the county fair. So that's a great month of July.
July is always a good month for,
you
for
bet.
outside festivities.
You betcha. And we'll be at the Maurie Jacobs Park, which is down on the river. It's between, right at the end of the footbridge, across from Valley River. So, and a lot of shade and trees, and it's free to the public, and it's family friendly. We'll have a kids area, bike valet, and it's going to be great. And you can meet Blake and see his product. So we're going to take a break, and almost overworked ourselves here, so we got to, you know, we got to take a break. But we're going to be back and be talking about some more interesting stuff, including this item laying on the table here, the marijuana leaf lei. Now, these were, when they first came out, the first company that marketed them as the Happy Leaf Lei, which was still my favorite name, the Happy Leaf Lei. And I used to love to go through crowds and stuff with this, you know, and then with one of these, and people, and I'd say, don't worry, folks, it's not real. It won't hurt you. It's not real. You know, and then I'd say, oh, well, wait a minute. Actually, if it was real, it wouldn't hurt you anyway, you know, and people love that, you know, and I used to do that over and over again, especially at the local Eugene Celebration Parade. So anyway, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back and show you our lei again. See ya. Welcome back to the second half of Eugene Cannabis TV, episode 577, and we're talking about the Hempfest, and I was talking about the Happy Leaf Lei. That's what the first company that imported these called them. I always liked that name, the Happy Leaf Lei. It's going to be at the Hempfest, so you can pick one up there, and if you're a volunteer, you ain't got any better chance of getting one, because we have door prizes at our meetings. So come to a meeting and you might win one or another one of our prizes. So keep your ears open. We always meet on the third Saturday of every month, and we're meeting at the park now. So it's on June 13th at 2 o'clock. We'll be at the park and for our public volunteer meeting. And then we also have our steering meetings for the core people, and if you would like to be a steering member, and get a hold of me and I'll tell you about those meetings. So that's at dankbagman@hotmail.com. And this is Memorial Day. Even though it's a holiday, we're still in the studio. We work through most holidays, and so here we are. And so if you are a veteran, thank you for your service. And I have an exciting announcement to read pertaining to veterans. The U.S. Senate Committee on Appropriations voted to add the Veterans Equal Access Amendment, known as a VEAA, to the 2016 budget for the Veterans Administration. This landmark amendment would end the current gag order that prevents the VA doctors from recommending or even discussing medical cannabis with veterans in states where it is legal. There is now a real chance that federal law will change, and veterans who depend on the VA for health care will finally be able to discuss medical cannabis with their doctors and use it to treat serious conditions like chronic pain, PTSD, phantom limb syndrome, traumatic brain injury, and more. So this is written by the Americans for Safe Access, so they're asking for a donation to help with their work. And it is an excellent organization. It's the leading medical cannabis patient advocacy organization. And they want to keep fighting for veterans and others who need safe and legal access to medical cannabis. They're saying the Senate vote was historic, but we still have to get the VEAA approved in the House of Representatives, where a similar measure lost by only 3 votes last year, and get it signed by the President. That means we need to do more direct advocacy, rally more grassroots support, and keep this story in the national media spotlight. So we're doing our part in trying to keep it in the spotlight. But the one thing, this is a little bit confusing, because several years ago there was a letter came out from the VA administrator saying that any veteran that was on the state medical marijuana program and was in compliance with their state regulations, it was okay with the VA. They wouldn't be penalized for it. So that was a big landmark breakthrough. But this one here, and I guess the difference is that now this would allow doctors to actually talk, the VA doctors actually talk to the VA veterans. So that could be big and would be big, and let's hope it keeps going. There is some sanity coming to all this, and so let's just hope that it continues. And speaking of sanity, this is actually more like insanity, but here we go again. This is, it was in the the website HuffingtonPost.com on May 14th. This is written by Russ Belville. Russ Belville used to be with the Oregon Normal chapter. He went on his own and started the 420radio.org website. Very well spoken. He goes by Radical Russ, and that's not an exaggeration. So he's Radical Russ, all right. But he does speak well. And so, well, our problem in Salem, this is what he had to say about it. He says, the title is Democratic Oregon Senator Jenny Burdick Ignores Marijuana Legalization Voters. If you're just joining us, Oregon's Joint Legislative Committee that was assigned the task of implementing our recreational marijuana legalization got bogged down trying to restrict the medical marijuana program. Never mind that Measure 91, Recreational Marijuana Legalization Initiative, said 3 times that the existing medical marijuana program was not to be affected, and 56% of the voters agreed with that. It appears as though some of our elected officials think our petitions and votes aren't what we want to see written into law. They think our initiatives are merely advice. And like then Washington Governor Christine Gregoire in 2011, they are so easily frightened by vague, unrealized federal threats, they're willing to line-item veto the key provisions of sensible marijuana regulation. And should these politicians succeed, they'll wreak the same sort of havoc on Oregon's successful medical marijuana program that we are now seeing wrought upon Washington's. The Joint Committee of 5 senators and 5 representatives was well on its way to accomplishing most of the drastic changes to Oregon's medical marijuana program they sought, including the reduction in medical marijuana gardens from 6 mature plants per patient to a limit of just 12 plants total, regardless of how many patients a grower serves in urban areas, as well as new record-keeping and inspection requirements for medical marijuana growers. Again, despite Measure 91 saying, in effect, don't tinker with medical marijuana. But they deadlocked on local medical marijuana bans. When our medical marijuana dispensaries were created by the legislature in 2013, they allowed city councils and county commissions to institute bans until May 1st, 2015. Then, 146 of 242 cities and 26 of 36 Oregon counties instituted bans. Now that the ban deadline is up, the question became, how can cities and counties maintain those bans? House members wanted such bans to automatically go to the ballot for the voters to decide. Senate members instead wanted bans to remain until the people collected enough signatures to put it on a vote of the people. Never mind the fact that the recreational marijuana legalization we just passed by 56% vote says that in order to ban a recreational marijuana dispensary, it requires a vote of the people, not just the votes of city councils or county commissions. As committee member Republican Ann Lineker noted, it shouldn't be any easier to ban medical marijuana sites. Since the Joint Committee was deadlocked, Senate President Peter Courtney has impaneled a Senate committee to push the local medical marijuana dispensary ban language the Senate members wanted. Leading that committee is the same co-chair of the Joint Committee, Democratic Senate President Pro Tem Jenny Burdick, joined by Republican Senator Jeff Cruz. The political calculus here is that she thinks she can get a bipartisan Senate majority to support it. Then, when it goes to the House, it's not just Representative Lindinger and 4 other joint members stonewalling it. The full House, she believes, will be swayed by the Senate into supporting the local ban language she favors. Of course, it strains credibility to think that if the handful of officials running a city or county can vote to ban medical marijuana dispensaries, they won't demand the power to ban recreational marijuana shops, in contradiction of the clear language of Measure 91 that says only the public can institute a ban. Then we'll find ourselves in the same morass as Washington State, where medical and recreational marijuana are only available in the urban centers. The price of marijuana will be artificially inflated, especially if the president, by ignoring Measure 91's only the people can ban language, is later applied to the legislature to the only the state can tax language, allowing local pot sales taxes, and the reduction in the black market that legalization promised vanishes as it fills the needs for patients and consumers in 146 cities and 26 counties or more. If Senator Jenny Burdick accomplishes these line item vetoes regarding local bans and local taxes, she'll have then defied the intent of fully 2/3 of her district who supported Measure 91. This isn't about marijuana. This is about democracy. Think again. I ask, what good is citizen initiative power if the politicians feel they have the right to line item veto it? What good is voting when a key senator is willing to ignore a supermajority of her constituents? Please contact Senator Jenny Burdick and let her know she needs to respect the will of the people. So, excuse me. So, we have a word for it. It's called canna bigotry. And the legislature is amuck in canna bigotry ever since Measure 91 passed, and the legislature is trying to decide what to do with it. like the OMMP, they would like to modify it a lot where they essentially gut it. They're working on it, they're trying, but we're fighting back, and there is some sanity, so it's out there somewhere maybe. So anyway, this is the, excuse me, this was on marijuanapolitics.com, which is Alex Rogers' thing. Alex Rogers is the CEO of Northwest Alternative, former activist that I worked with briefly. Used to work with Voter Power. Anyway, he wrote, Oregon Senate Bill 964 hurts patients and goes against the will of the voters. This is another Senate bill that was written to cripple OMMP, and as the legislature always does when they're in session. He writes, while Oregon patients and concerned citizens managed to stop Senate Bill 844, a measure that would harm sick and disabled medical marijuana patients, the bill has basically been regurgitated as Senate Bill 964. Oregon House Democrats Ann Linginger, Peter Buckley, and Ken Helm stood up for patients and the will of Oregon voters when they refused to roll over for the Republican Party's stipulation that city councils and county commissions be able to ban medical dispensaries without a public vote. So anyway, it's basically what we're just talking about. So that's more of the same, and it goes on and on. So we don't know where we're at. But anyway, we need to wrap this up, and I invite you to come down and say hi. Come down to the studios Monday night at 7:30. You could either be on the show or just simply watch and see how it goes. This is a labor of love, and we always could use more company. So come on down and join us. And of course, the Hempfest coming up. SSTP chapter, Lane Community students, attention, attention. We need somebody to help us start an SSTP chapter at the Lane Community College. Get a hold of DanK, bagman, hotmail.com. Thank you. See you next week.